Welcome to Space Matrix. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates. August 19th, 2025. The world is stunned. News from New Delhi, India will no longer use the US dollar for its major international trade deals. Instead, it's switching to the Chinese yuan. This is a deliberate seismic policy shift. For nearly a century, the global financial system has revolved around the dollar. Today, that changes. India's move is the result of years of shifting alliances and rising tensions. The country is signaling a pivot away from the West, toward a new economic bloc in the East. Major energy and commodity imports, oil, gas, raw materials, will now be settled in yuan, bypassing the American financial system. This is a direct challenge to US economic supremacy. The world's largest democracy is opting out of the dollar system. The dominoes could start to fall, other nations may follow. This isn't just a change in currency, it's a political statement. America's unchallenged leadership is no longer guaranteed. Markets are in turmoil. Diplomats are scrambling. Washington is in shock. Why would India, a democratic counterweight to China, make this move? The answers are complex, but one thing is clear. The global financial landscape has been permanently altered. The era of the dollar's absolute dominance may be ending. And it was a decision made in New Delhi, not Beijing, that set it in motion. The world is watching. The rules are changing. The starting gun has been fired. The future of global finance is up for grabs. The world will never be the same. To grasp India's move, you need to understand the dollar's power. The US dollar isn't just America's currency, it's the world's reserve currency. Central banks everywhere hold dollars because they're stable and reliable. This gives the US a huge advantage. It can borrow cheaply, and its economy is propped up by global demand. Most international trade, especially oil, is done in dollars. This creates constant demand, keeping the dollar strong and reinforcing US influence. The US can use this system as a weapon: sanctions, financial pressure, and global leverage. The dollar is the bedrock of American power. So when a giant like India steps away, it's not just a business decision, it's a strategic blow. India is building a parallel system, outside US control. If others follow, demand for dollars falls and America's power to borrow and sanction erodes. The architecture of US global influence rests on the dollar's throne. India just kicked out one of its legs. The world's financial order is suddenly unstable. The stakes are enormous. The dollar's dominance is no longer a given. The world is watching for what comes next. For President Trump, this is a political earthquake. His brand is American strength and dominance, especially economic. The dollar's supremacy is central to his "Make America Great Again" message. India's move undermines that narrative. It shows the world isn't bending to his will. A key partner is breaking ranks. Trump's favorite tools, tariffs, sanctions, depend on dollar dominance. If countries can trade in yuan, US sanctions lose their bite. India's decision is a blueprint for others to escape American pressure. Trump's opponents will call this a foreign policy disaster. They'll argue his aggressive tactics pushed allies away. The America First strategy may have accelerated America's decline. For Trump, this is personal, a blow to his dealmaker image. India siding with China is a public rejection of his approach. The foundations of American power have been shaken on his watch. The crisis is real, and the world is watching his next move. Why did India make this move? It's about strategic autonomy. India wants control over its economic destiny, not Washington's whims. US sanctions have made Indian leaders wary of dollar dependence. Trading in yuan with China, one of India's biggest partners, cuts costs and complexity. China may offer better terms for oil and goods if paid in yuan. This is pragmatic business, not just politics. India is also hedging its bets in a world where China's rise is unstoppable. Both nations want a multipolar world, not one dominated by the West. Recent US policies, tariffs, unpredictability, have made America seem unreliable. India is building options, seeking insurance against sudden shifts. It's a strategic adjustment for a new era. This isn't just a story for politicians and bankers. Ordinary Americans will feel the impact. The dollar's special status lets the US borrow cheaply and fund public services. If global demand drops, borrowing costs rise, meaning higher taxes or cuts to schools, healthcare, and infrastructure. A weaker dollar makes imports, electronics, more expensive. A weaker dollar makes imports, clothes, more expensive. A weaker dollar makes imports, toys, more expensive. Gas prices go up, stretching family budgets. American businesses face new challenges. Exports may suffer. The financial system becomes shakier, threatening retirement accounts and home values. Job security is at risk as businesses adjust. This is a slow-motion crisis, But India's move sets a dangerous precedent. If others follow, American living standards could erode. The global shakeup will hit home. President Trump must respond. Fast. Expect tough talk, threats, and possible tariffs on Indian goods. The goal: punish India and deter others. Behind the scenes, U.S. diplomats scramble to shore up support for the dollar. Allies are pressured to stick with the U.S. financial system. The U.S. leans on Middle Eastern partners, especially Saudi Arabia, to keep oil priced in dollars. If the Saudis waver, the dollar's dominance could collapse. Every tool, security guarantees, arms sales, diplomatic pressure, is in play. Trump may pivot, offering India new deals or security cooperation. He'll try to pull India back from the brink. This is the ultimate test of his deal-making skills. The stakes, the future of American power, the world is watching. India's Yuan pivot is a turning point in history. The era of singular American dominance is ending. The world is moving toward a multipolar reality. Power is more contested. Nations like India are shaping a new order to reflect their interests. The future may see competing currency blocks, dollar, yuan, and more. Globalization could become more complex and unstable. The U.S. faces a choice: react with anger or adapt and compete. It must build alliances on shared values, not just dominance. The story of India's pivot is about the future, where currency flows redraw the map. For America, it's a test of resilience and vision. The unipolar moment has passed. A new, more complex world is being born. The struggle to shape it has just begun.